What is going on YouTube? Joe here with Culination Media, and it is Saturday, so it's time for yet another top 5. This week, we're going to be completing the final human fear type by counting down my top 5 favorite bug type Pokemon. Judging by your comments and tweets up to this point, it seems like everyone is still enjoying the series as much as I'm enjoying creating it, which is completely amazing. I want to thank everybody who has taken the time to show support over the course of the last couple of episodes. It really does mean a lot. But without further ado, let's get on to the buggies. Remember, you can list your own favorites down in the comment section below if you would like to discuss. That is always a fun time. But let's get started with number 5. Kicking off the list, we have Galvan Chula. When it first came out, I thought its typing of Bug Electric was going to be one of the coolest in the game, and I definitely was not disappointed after it was officially released. Galvan Chula doesn't see much use competitively anymore outside of sticky web teams, which is really unfortunate, to be honest. I can actually put in a decent amount of work with a Life Orb or even a choice item, but it's rare to see someone using those in the current meta. Especially considering the new mechanic in Gen 6 that allows moves like Bug Buzz to damage through substitutes, I would have thought that our Tarantula friend here would see a bit more use. Also, can we talk about its Pokedex entry? After shocking its prey into immobility with a lightning spider web, it leisurely consumes it. Leisurely consumes! When I think leisurely consumes, I think having some blueberries, maybe some chips, but this thing is over here leisurely consuming large animals. And it's 31 pounds? Nope. So much nope, all of the nope. I'd rather eat glass or use Cresselia than see a spider like this. Why on earth is this even on my list? At number 4, I have Butterfree, one of the original Bug-type Pokemon favorites from Gen 1. Not gonna lie here and say that my opinion on Butterfree is based on much more than nostalgia, but it does have some things going for it. It has 2 pretty solid abilities in Compound Eyes and Tinted Lens, the first of which makes important moves like Sleep Powder Pack a much higher than normal accuracy rating, and the latter of which allows even resisted hits to do a crazy amount of damage. There really isn't all that much to Butterfree to make it interesting in all honesty, and even its shiny coloring leaves quite a bit to be desired, but there's just something about it that has always drawn me to it. Maybe with Beedrill getting a Mega in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, we'll see Butterfree get one in Sun and Moon? Get on it, Game Freak! Also, 70 pounds? Maybe Butterfree should lay off the Butterfingers, if you know what I mean. Coming in at number 3, we have the pincer Pokemon Scizor. Scizor is a fan favorite and a Pokemon that I'd expect to see in a lot of people's top 5 for both Steel and Bug types. While it doesn't have the greatest shiny coloring, the classic red is more than good enough for me. It also got a fantastic Mega Evolution in X and Y that continues to be a top 5 choice in OU, so it's solid competitively, and that amazing Bug Steel typing makes it only weak to Fire, and even though that becomes a 4 times weakness, it doesn't really hold Scizor back at all, and neither does its mediocre speed. Bullet Punch, being Stab and boosted by Technician, gives it a huge niche competitively, but it also has access to Roost for recovery, can pull off a solid choice band set, and has the bulk to take hits when it's needed. Even adding to its usefulness was the addition of Fairy to the typing landscape in Gen 6, as now Scizor has yet another job that it can do, taking out those fairies. And with all these things going for it, it was honestly pretty hard for me not to rank Scizor as number 1, but there's just 2 more buggies that barely edged him out. At number 2 is the beautiful Volcarona. Fire Bug was a type I had been hoping for years and years, and I was super excited to see it implemented in Black and White. I do find it a bit strange though that it shares its classification as the Sun Pokemon with Espeon, as they are both obviously very different, but this is pretty easy to overlook as Volcarona has so many other cool things that are going for it. First off, it's an absolute powerhouse in battle, sporting base 135 special attack and 105 special defense, as well as a solid base 100 speed, and access to one of the best boosting moves in the game in Quiver Dance. It also gets a signature move in Fiery Dance, which is exclusive to Volcarona, has perfect accuracy, and has a high chance to raise special attack as well. One of my only gripes about Volcarona is how difficult it is to obtain. Larvesta doesn't evolve until level 59. Now that's not Hydreigon level, but it's still pretty high, especially when you consider that in Black and White's final battle against Gessis, it has you fighting against Pokemon that are around or just above level 50. There's also that dreadful 4x weakness to Stealth Rock that is a bit problematic, but that hasn't stopped most people from loving Pokemon like Charizard, and it definitely is not going to stop me from loving Volcarona. And finally, my #1 favorite bug-type Pokemon is Scizor. A lot of you may have seen this coming, as I tend to use Scizor whenever I can, and even times when I probably shouldn't, but Scizor is just one of those very first Pokemon that I fell in love with way back in the late 1990s, and I never really grew out of liking it despite all of the cool additions to the Pokemon lineup, including an evolution for Scizor in Gen 2. Something about the design with scythes on its arm and being a ninja-like mantis was just so likable to 7-year-old me, and it still is to 23-year-old me. I'd go as far as saying it'd probably be a shoo-in for my top 5 Pokemon overall, but that's a list for a different time. Something I never really paid attention to as a kid though, Scizor has got to be the biggest mantis of all time. At 4 foot 11 inches, 123 pounds, that's gigantic. As much as I'd love to own one if Pokemon were actually real, I don't know that I could physically handle a bug that was 4 foot 11, 123 pounds standing right next to me. Regardless, Scizor is still easily my favorite bug-type Pokemon. Okay, well that is going to wrap up this week's top 5. Don't forget to leave your favorites in the comment section below. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter if you like to chat, as I respond to almost all the tweets that I receive, or you can check sporadically for channel updates. I also have an Instagram that I sometimes remember to post on if that's more your thing, or you can become a Patreon if you'd like to support the channel and get early access to videos. Links for everything are in the description as always. Hope everyone enjoyed, and I will see you all next week. But until then, game on.